It was the final debate in the race for governor, and we're talking about it today with our panel. Joining us here in studio today, we have former state party chair for the Indiana Democrats, Robin Winston, 2016 vice chair for the Indiana Trump campaign, Tony Samuel, and two former state representatives for the Democrats, Terry Austin, and for the Republicans, Mike Murphy. So, Mike, I'll start with you. What do you make of the state of this race for governor right now, and what were your big takeaways from the debate on Thursday night?
Well, I think the debate itself was somewhat inconsequential because so many of the Hoosier voters have already voted, somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000, depending on who you talk to, and that pace is going to pick up in the next week or so. A lot of people have made up their minds. I think it's just a matter of each party getting their vote out. As far as the state of the race, I think it's closer than everybody expected. I've been saying all year that Braun will win by 10 to 20 points. Polls are now showing him probably under 10. I still think he's going to win. There's no doubt that he's going to win. So a lot of this is still, the next 8 days will be just a bunch of sound and fury, everybody trying to get their last shots in.
We'll see what happens. Terry, what's your view here from across the aisle? How close of a race is this going to be, and what did you make of the debate on Thursday?
Well, I think this is going to be a very close race, and I'm not sure I concur with your 10 points rule. So I think that while it's true, a lot of people did not think this was going to be a competitive race at first, I think everybody realizes it's a competitive race now. And I do think that Jennifer did an excellent job in the debate. I would remind voters that she is the only candidate that has experience running an agency statewide, responsible for over half the state's budget.
Tony, the DGA keeps pumping money into this race. The RGA has been as well. What does that tell you about the state of this race right now? Is it going to be closer than expected?
No, not really. And part of that is the Trump vote. The Trump vote's going to be big. I'm more confident that he's going to win nationally and in Indiana by more than 20 points. That lifts everybody. If anyone thinks that's going to be a close race, it's going to break for Republicans, and here's why. Braun is the serious candidate. He's talking about education, healthcare, property taxes. She is attacking him on anything she can think of, and it's not going to stick. She's too liberal for Indiana. She gets that DGA money, but she doesn't get money from Hoosiers. He gets money from the Republican Governors Association, which cares about keeping the state red, but also from Hoosiers, big donations, small donations. He's going to win, and he comes across as the serious candidate. He's won those 3 debates.
Robin, what's your response to that? What did you make of the debate Thursday?
First off, remember that 2 governors that are from deep red states are involved helping Jennifer McCormick. Kansas, not exactly a flaming liberal state, and Kentucky with Andy Beshear. So when you talk about the Democratic Governors Association, those are the kind of governors that we're talking about. Jennifer McCormick is serious. She's put forth common sense proposals. She's put policy proposals that she has not had to go back and change because they were written quickly just for sound points. The bottom line is that this race has gotten closer, and here's how I know. People that weren't calling me before are calling now wanting to help. People on the other side of the aisle before that were laughing are not laughing as much anymore. This race is going to boil down to you all going out to vote.
All right, let's talk about the race for president now as well. Mike, in our interview with Senator Braun, he said if his race is close, it's because of outside factors like the race for president, which he said had Democrats enthused after the DNC. Do you think that's the case still? And just how big of a factor will the presidential race play in these down ballot races? Tony thought it would have the opposite effect, that Trump would lift the other candidates here down ballot.
Well, I suspect Tony's right in this case because Trump is still up 16, 17 points, whatever the case is, and he's going to win big. There's no doubt about it. But as I said earlier, I think that Braun will win by now, I'm thinking 9 points instead of 10 to 20. Still a good win. You got to remember, Pence won by 2.9% in 2016, so we've had some close gubernatorial races.
Yeah. Terry, what are you seeing in terms of those early voting numbers and enthusiasm here in Indiana on the ground and nationwide? And what do you think that'll mean come November 5th?
Well, I will tell you that I have sensed for some time that the ground is shifting. And when I say that, I mean the inclination to vote automatically Republican is not there among a growing number of voters. I've had women are going to have an edge, quite honestly, women candidates. I've had 75-year-old men walk in and tell me, I've just decided I'm going to vote for all the women. on the ticket. They're the only ones with common sense.
Tony, in this race for president this week, a lot of back and forth. Vice President Harris had a lot to say about General Kelly's comments on former President Trump, calling him an authoritarian, possibly a fascist in his view. This was his former chief of staff. How damaging is that to the Trump campaign?
You know, they've called Republicans fascists since Goldwater, Nixon, Bush, Reagan, on and on, even Romney, and now again, it's more intense now. You got more of these. These are folks that didn't work out in the administration and that were fired by Trump, and they've got a vendetta, and it's the same old, same old. You've seen John Kelly and others say the same thing. They're bringing them all out again. They're throwing everything they can at Trump, see what sticks. But the American public cares about the policies more than ever. He sticks to the policies, the border, inflation, crime, and her main message is just attack Trump.
Robin, the vice president certainly has had a lot to say about this week in her town hall and in a speech this week in Washington. Just how contentious are things going to get here in the final days?
They're going to be off the hook. I mean, it's going to be a lot of intensity. But you know, when you think about somebody as a job applicant, the first thing that you guys do is check their references. If you checked his references, think about what everybody would say about him that worked with him. Many of them are in screens. I mean, it looks like a grade school photo thing because so many people in his administration are against him. When they put it up on a screen, it's like 25 people that worked for him said he should not be reelected as president, shouldn't even serve as commander-in-chief. I think the middle of this race is where we're going. Everybody's locked in on our side and on their side. It's the sensible middle that's going to make the difference in these final days.
All right, we'll see what happens here in the final days ahead of the November election. Coming up next, we're talking about the politics of water and one environmental group's key issues for 2024 after the break.